With an AEW star suspended and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for August 25th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Talking about the changes that have come to WWE since Triple H became head of creative, Renee Paquette praised play-by-play commentator Michael Cole for showing off his talent. My takeaway from all of the WWE changes is how happy I am for how many awesomely talented people that maybe did not get to be quite as talented as they could be due to restrictions and limitations. Now we're going to get really great glimpses into how awesome some people can really be. Whether it's Michael Cole doing his shit on commentary, being just as good as he actually is, or Killer Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux being brought back into WWE, to Bayley working with Io Sky and Dakota Kai, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler being booked properly. Oh my god, what a relief. I've said this a million times, and I'm just going to reiterate how good he is and how people have literally crapped on him for years and years and years. You guys don't even know how good he is, what a regular Raw or what SmackDown looks like for him. That dude is in a pressure cooker every single show, and he takes the brunt of it. But now, to see him actually just show his talent and get to show his love of professional wrestling, and the fact that he's been in the business for 25 plus years, and the depth of knowledge he has of professional wrestling, it's awesome. It makes me really happy to see him get to breathe and do his thing, but also to see people be like, oh shit, Cole is awesome. With NBC Sports Boston, Jon Morrison touched on his release from WWE, saying he did not want to stay with the company following the release of his wife. The thing about it is, after Taya was gone, I didn't want to be there anymore. When I heard I was being released, I went through the 8 steps of grief, or 10, however many, in like 30 seconds. From surprise to shock to regret to okay. They didn't even say best of luck in your future endeavors. I thought that he said that to people. I didn't get that out of John Laurinaitis. I wonder if someone said that to him. I don't love him or hate him. I thought he had a very tough job. I didn't realize what he was doing behind the scenes. In retrospect, that's pretty messed up. He has to deal with that, and he created his own problems. Coming off his big win over CM Punk, there were reports heading into the AEW title unification bout that Jon Moxley wanted this match moved from pay-per-view to television. AEW sources indicated that Moxley was in favor of the move, and one source even indicated that it was his idea and pitch, and AEW went with it. The same source also said that eventually CM Punk agreed to it. We haven't learned if this was connected to any of the reported issues with Punk last week. Grapsity's Will Washington noted on the air that he'd heard there was an idea in play a few days before to increase ticket sales and add buzz to the Cleveland AEW show. Fightful has reached out to AEW officials, who did not respond when asked for comment on this story. We've not been told of creative plans heading out of this match. The decision was not the original plan, and that multiple plans for AEW All Out had changed. During his interview with Sports Illustrated, CM Punk, when addressing reports of his unhappiness in AEW, added that his promo on Hangman Page was to drive up interest. That's what I'm here to do, make people want to see what happens next. I'm trying to sell tickets to the live events. That goes back to me saying Twitter isn't real world. Twitter is a bunch of people that don't really care about your opinion. They want to find like-minded opinions that share their worldview. I'm trying to tell stories, sell tickets, and get people to tune in on Dynamite. Given the reports of backstage issues in AEW, it came as no surprise to hear that a meeting would be taking place prior to last night's show, as Sean Ross Sapp wrote. We were told the meeting took place between 3 and 4 p.m. Eastern, and that Tony Khan was fired up for it. Several topics were tackled, including working as a team, the lines of communication, and who the talent can talk to. The access to Khan was also addressed, as the rumors of miscommunication and lack of access to him had emerged. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks were said to have made it clear that their door is always open, and that they can be reached for concerns as well. Talent were briefed via email recently about several of the new coaches and talent relations Relations promotions. In addition, we've learned that Chris Jericho and Tony Schiavone spoke at the meeting. Schiavone has been tasked with some additional talent relations roles. We've also heard that the contract tampering and inquiry rumors were released, and it was noted that AEW's chief legal officer sent a message/email to WWE, specifically Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon, about contract tampering allegations. Apparently, things got out of hand backstage in AEW previously, as Eddie Kingston was suspended following a confrontation with a fellow superstar, with it reported that Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara were supposed to compete at All Out, but that doesn't seem like it's happening. AEW hasn't confirmed one way or another, but Eddie Kingston has been off television the last couple of weeks, with Fightful gaining word he was briefly suspended by the company. Fightful has been unable to confirm that with All Elite Wrestling, but I've heard that he's already completed it. Kingston has not been present at recent AEW segments, and we've been told of at least one segment to build up the once planned all-out match that was scrapped. Rumors among talent that we've heard about said that Guevara and Kingston had developed heat, and it developed into an altercation. The word backstage was that Guevara made a comment about Kingston's physique, and Kingston took a swing at him. We've not confirmed that with anyone that witnessed it, and reached out to both parties. The feud is continuing as Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello are taking on Ortiz and Ruby Soho on Rampage. Fightful Sean Ross Sapp noted ahead of AEW Dynamite on Twitter that all-out changes were happening. At that time, there were no matches that were publicly set for the show that would end up on the actual card. We haven't learned if this situation has since been rectified or the status of the match moving forward. In addition to the story on Eddie Kingston being suspended by AEW, Fightful has added that this confrontation did get physical, with Eddie shoving Sammy's face allegedly. The original plan was for Eddie Kingston to win the all-out match. In the edited promo, Sammy Guevara referred to Kingston as a fat piece of which Kingston took exception to, as he felt it buried the match if a fat piece of beat him. The crux of the frustration, however, was how Sammy followed up with this after being perceived as difficult working with Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Sanjay Dutt in the months prior. After that, we're told that Kingston had yelled at Sammy, who smiled at him. Kingston responded by pie-facing Guevara. Sammy ended up being incredibly unhappy with this, and Kingston was suspended for 2 weeks. Despite all the changes that have come to WWE, Brad Shepard reported that according to a source in WWE on a company call this morning, Triple H said that WWE is not moving to TV14 for TV shows. It's not happening anytime soon, he said. Talking about the reports of CM Punk's behavior backstage in AEW, Road Dogg noted on his podcast that Punk had these same problems in WWE. So fast forward to 2022, and apparently he's still going into somebody else's office talking about going home. Look, I don't know if it's a pattern with you or not, but it sure seems like it's forming one to me. Look, let's continue. I just wanted to throw a jab. at Punk. Look, I just remember he was kind of difficult to work with, and I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. I hadn't been there that long, and I wasn't in the inner circle. If this had happened 3 years later, I would have probably known a lot more of what was going on behind the scenes. So I didn't really know what was going on with him, but I know he was hard to deal with. Maybe that, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that that's why it was. It wasn't personal issues, but there were professional issues. Compared to how I and his relationship, he wouldn't have talked to me about it, so it was just me and Billy just kind of looked at each other like, whoa, what do we do here? So we did the best we could to do our stuff around him and let him be him, and we'll be us. And you know how that worked out. Talking on the Sports Illustrated Media podcast, Roman Reigns touched on working in WWE for more than a decade and why he's taken a step back from performing as much. The main thing is, when you've been on the road for almost 10 years straight and someone who has been at the highest level, the main event level, I ran a full schedule for a long time. Even before we went to Fox, it changed to where it was SmackDown on Friday, 2 live events on Saturday and Sunday, and the occasional Monday Night Raw. That's a 4-night schedule. which isn't as bad as it used to be. We used to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, live events Monday Night Raw, tape SmackDown on Tuesday. We were only getting a day and a half. This is before private travel, buses, and all that. Fly out Wednesday morning, get half of Wednesday, you get home and you're tired, half of Wednesday, then you have Thursday and are trying to handle personal life and family and everything that comes with that, then you're back out on Friday. For me, it was trying to balance everything. Someone who has 5 children, we're in a critical portion of their lives where they're so young, and this is where we build these relationships and bonds and they get to know who their dad is. For me, it was extremely important that I can build my fatherhood as the priority and the number one hat that I wear in WWE. Vince McMahon and everybody was very good about accommodating that and making sure to keep me in the WWE family. There are things that I felt, even with this new contract in the past few months, almost that micromanaging complex of, I need to be in control and I should be doing more. You feel like you can't help from the sideline. That's not the case. That's a mental type of thing that any performer would go through. I'm not there. I'm being forgotten. I'm not helping. You feel like you're not carrying the same weight that you used to. At the end of the day, there is no off season. I am just a human, and we have to take all of these things into account. You want to stay in Superman mode and be on everything, and help the product and merchandising as much as you can and satisfy the consumer. But if you spread yourself too thin, it goes both ways. It's about finding that mental safe, that safe space, to where you're not blowing your brain up and being anxious or having anxiety about it, and at the same time just trusting it and going with the flow. Roman would also confirm that he recently re-signed with the company. Yeah, I signed a new deal with WWE. I don't really like to get into specifics, especially timelines. There's different ways to play with these things. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.